Bloomberg Audio Studios.
Podcasts, radio, news.
Single best idea, Dominic Konstam of Mizuho with a special guest on the back end. I really can't say enough about this, and I think the heritage and the mathematics and the work of all of our guests are really important. Konstam was extraordinary. He really drove forward the quantitative economic thinking of Credit Suisse in an absolute heyday. That with the leadership of Neil Sass. And they had just Mark Flannery on oil and gas pipelines, and they had just a fabulous team going. And Dominic Konstam was at Credit Suisse with Ira Jersey. Ira's now at Bloomberg Intelligence driving all her fixed income. And the reason you read each house is different. You read Goldman Sachs for this reason and Mizuho for this reason, BNP Paribas, whatever. You read each different house. And you read Credit Suisse fixed income economics for one chart. And it was called the hair chart. And what it was where interest rates are now. And then it would overlay the guesstimate of what interest rates would do. And it was a beautiful graphic representation of how wrong all of global Wall Street was within the great moderation. All of that was due to the expertise of the team around Dominic Konstam. Now, decades on with Mizuho, Dominic Konstam on your inflation.
Inflation was really insidious this time. I mean, people try and compare it with the 1970s. 1970s inflation was not nearly as insidious, not only as people remember it, but also economically when you look at it. And where it came from was basically companies jacking up prices and selling the same stuff for more, but less of it. I mean, it was really kind of like supply-driven, controlling it. And in economics, we call that things like price discrimination. It's all this sort of dynamic pricing, which now is all over the place, where basically consumers are having their sort of
airline tickets.
Yeah, exactly. Consumer surplus transferred to profit.
That's where it came.
That's where it came
At London School of Economics, the price discrimination question, right, Paul, is airline tickets.
Yep. Inflation is always and everywhere a monetary phenomenon? Absolutely not. I mean, that's what it isn't. It isn't always and everywhere a monetary phenomenon. It's partly due to corporate pricing acts.
A firestorm of response to that statement by Dr. Konstam. YouTube, the live chat lit up like a candle, people saying he doesn't remember the 70s. But for Dominic Konstam to make those statements on consumer inflation in America, can you imagine him testifying to Congress on that? It would be a firestorm, to say the least. We continued with Dominic Konstam about just a simple idea of moving this economy forward. Let's listen.
Absolutely. And the good news is interest rates are so high that they can come down a lot. There's also the good news that balance sheets pretty much across sectors, household and corporates, are actually in pretty good shape. The government is obviously a slight issue, but basically that means you don't have the sort of hangover that you've had in previous significant downturns. So this is what I would call a regular cycle. You just need to get rates down and things will be basically fine.
Thank you, Dominic Konstam, for attendance today. John Farrow, Lisa Abramowitz, and Amory Horton spent a good amount of time with Dr. El-Erian. We shanghaied him coming out of the studio. He gave us 3 or 4 minutes before the Sikorsky left the roof here at 731 Lexington. Quizzed Dr. El-Erian about his New York Jets, his optimism for the season. He may attend at Gillette Stadium here in the Patriots coming up. But then Mohamed El-Erian on a measured Fed.
I think we will be measured forward, meaning we will go at 25 basis points. We won't get dramatic series of 50s, but we will be measured for the wrong reason. We'll be measured because the Fed will remain overreactive, meaning it will be too data dependent and will not be in front of forward-leaning. I think the key issue about Greenspan, Bernanke, and Yellen, what they were willing to lean forward and take a view of the economy. Chair Powell is not there yet.
Dr. El-Erian, a brief visit with us. We'll get him in for a much longer time here within his schedule. He has to head back to the University of Cambridge. On our distribution today, and the people that help me with this every day try to explain to me the multiple platforms we're on. It's not just Bloomberg 1130. It's frankly not just YouTube. Thank you so much to Jamie out of TCW of Los Angeles for listening on Sirius XM. She was listening on Sirius this morning before her appearance with us, mentioned Dominic Konstam. But nationwide, excuse me, we thank you. On Sirius, on Apple CarPlay, on Android Auto, all the different new ways in the digital landscape, summing up to where we're just absolutely humbled by a record audience. In August, we move into the fall with confidence of good conversations for you. Out on YouTube, for Lisa Mateo, please subscribe to Bloomberg Podcasts. On Apple Podcasts, this is Single Best Idea.